Hi, I am Reese, and recently in my school, there appeared a new economics teacher who has been making my life miserable since the first day. Well, no, there were no coincidences, and I did not imagine things. She really hated me. At school, I have always been an excellent student. I like to study and learn something new. I was especially fond of mathematics and economics. This means that I am not a humanities minded person at all, and I plan to devote my life to calculations in the future. Our former economics teacher, Mrs. Maisel, literally adored me. Well, this is logical, as I was the first to raise my hand, knew the answers to all her questions, and did my homework better than anyone else. Reese, you have a great future, she said. But to my great regret, Mrs. Maisel was forced to leave her job at school and retire because her age no longer allowed her to easily communicate with teenagers and also spend half of her day at school. In short, my favorite teacher took a well-deserved rest. A week later, the class teacher informed us that on that day we would meet our new economics teacher and said that we would certainly like her. And I had no doubt that she would like me because I was really an exemplary student, and apart from that, I knew her subject very well. And then our first lesson with the new teacher in economics took place. Her name was Miss Peyton. She seemed to be no older than 25. We thought that she was very young and insecure. Most likely, this was her first teaching experience. Well, everything happens for the first time, and the fact that she is young does not make her a bad teacher, I thought, when the lesson had just begun. As usual, I tried to be active and demonstrate my knowledge to the new teacher. And imagine how shocking it was for me that at the end of the lesson, she gave me a bad mark. Well, of course, I thought that she had confused me with someone else and even reminded her of what questions I had answered and asked her to review my performance in the subject before she came to our school. But no, Miss Peyton said that I was a smart aleck, and the only thing that I was doing during the whole lesson was preventing her from teaching the class. She also said that from now on, she would not tolerate this, and next time she would just kick me out of the classroom. Well, I can say that my jaw dropped to the floor because of surprise, and I was speechless because I did not expect such inappropriate behavior from the teacher. In short, I decided that the young teacher was just too nervous, so she got carried away. Well, this happens to everyone. However, in the next lesson, she asked me if I had prepared a report on a given topic. Oops. But actually, she gave no homework at the last lesson at all. What kind of report was she talking about? But still, Miss Peyton continued to stand her ground. She called me an idle talker and a liar, stating that in the last lesson I took the initiative to write a report and gave me another unsatisfactory mark. And at that moment, she was so furious that even no one of my classmates dared to stand up for me. They were scared. I started crying and left the classroom right in the middle of the lesson. I realized that only the school principal could save me, so I went straight to him. Choking with tears, I explained the situation to him and asked him to figure everything out. And the investigation did begin, but unfortunately, it ended not in my favor because Miss Peyton managed to win over all the students. She was kind to them and definitely inflated their grades. So everyone supported her and began to defend her, accusing me of lying and slandering a wonderful teacher. After my great failure, Miss Peyton rejoiced. No, this was not obvious to everyone, but I saw it in her eyes, in her grin, and I heard it in the tone of her voice. Then she began to set classmates against me. She told them that I didn't belong to this class, that I was not smart enough and was a real troublemaker. And I couldn't prove anything because some girls passed these words to me anonymously, stating that this information was top secret and they didn't agree to repeat this in the presence of the third parties. Then I decided to approach Miss Peyton and ask why I annoyed her so much, why she hated me so much, and why she was making my life miserable. Her answer was insulting and humiliating. Miss Peyton said that I was still nobody and I had not achieved so much that she could like or hate me. I was nobody, and it meant that I did not exist for her. I was no more than an empty space. That is, she did not even bother to give me a clue of what was wrong. In short, as she was setting all my classmates against me, my performance was deteriorating. Well, it's hard to study in an environment where everyone is hostile towards you. I wanted to become invisible or disappear completely. Oh yeah, even my mom went to school a couple of times, but even this did not bring any results. Miss Peyton told her that unfortunately the former economics teacher greatly inflated my grades, but she couldn't do the same. Apart from that, she said that I had such a low level of knowledge that I should have been held back a year. To be honest, I did not understand what was going on and how to figure it out. Well, how can a complete stranger encroach on my life like that and start breaking it? During a month of work in our school, she turned me from an excellent student in the life of the party into an outcast and a D student. No, it was not a coincidence. She was perfectly aware of her actions. Also, she seemed to have set the goal of completely destroying me. One day, she crossed all the possible lines. It was during a city concert where all the students were invited. All the classes, including ours, were together. So, in the middle of the holiday, when the music was playing very loudly and everyone was absorbed by what was happening on stage, I felt a strong, painful blow in the lumbar region. I turned around and saw Miss Peyton's sly face there. She was holding a stun gun in her hands. She looked angrily at me and said, "So, Reese, let's have fun, huh?" and gave me an electric shock for a second time. I started screaming and ran through the crowd. It was so difficult, but most of all, I was afraid to get another electric shock in my back, so I was literally going over people's heads. When I got out of the crowd, in front of me, I saw the policemen who maintained order during the concert. I rushed to them and started shouting something. Then I calmed down and was able to properly explain what had happened. On that day, no one was able to catch my offender, and all in all, everyone considered me to be a schemer and a crazy girl. Miss Peyton even burst into tears the next day in public and asked why I did this to her. Damn actress! And again, I turned out bad and unwanted to everyone, or rather, I became even worse than before. One fine day, I just stopped putting up with all of this. I sent everyone to hell and said that I would not go to school anymore, more specifically to this school. But I would gladly go to another one with normal and honest teachers. Well, as a last resort, I would return to this one if the economics teacher left it. So, after a couple of days, Miss Peyton appeared at the door of my house. My eye was already twitching because of her, and as soon as I saw her, I was gripped by panic. It's good that my mother was at home. She comforted me and persuaded me to talk to the teacher. Mom said that she came to make peace with me and hoped to find a common ground. Has the witch lost her broom or the underworld ran out of space? What the hell is this limb of the devil doing here? What is her true purpose? And I agreed to talk to her. Mom left us alone in my room and said that she would stay in the kitchen. So Miss Peyton started her speech. Her eyes were filled with hatred, and her voice was so harsh and cold that I felt uneasy. She said that I stole her childhood. She called me a freak of nature and said that I had ruined her family. I wondered what I could ruin being almost 14 years old. It seemed that this lady was completely crazy, and it was even dangerous to be near her. I stood up to call my mom, but Miss Peyton pointed a gun at me and said that I had to finish listening to her. The next moment, police officers broke the door and arrested Miss Peyton. It turned out that my mom installed a hidden camera in my room, so she saw and heard everything that was going on inside. So then she called the police. From that moment on, the game was over, and Miss Peyton was forced to tell everything, although the police officers themselves figured out everything at the same time. Miss Peyton is my paternal half-sister, and I never knew that she existed. Mom also did not know anything about her, unfortunately or fortunately, I am not sure. When my parents started dating, Dad cohabitated with Peyton's mother, and they had something like a family. Peyton was 8 years old at that time. So Dad fell madly in love with my mother, and for some reason he decided to take French leave from a common-law wife and daughter. They were searching for him for a long time and even sought some payments from him, but everything was in vain. And then Peyton and her mother decided to completely forget my father. In addition, my dad later officially married my mother, and she was pregnant with me. But nobody knew that Peyton had been angry with me for more than half of her life, and she promised to destroy me at all costs. She hated me because I grew up in a nuclear family while she was deprived of her father. She hated me just because I was happier and more loved than her. And she also started working at school to take revenge on me. All in all, she expected to deal with me. Who do you think is guilty in this story? Peyton, our dad, or me? Give your answers in the comments and don't forget to click on the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel.